Well, good morning, guys. Ed over here at FICM Repair. So, just adding to this conversation and just catching up with some videos, very frankly, is, hey, one of my customers just turned 500,000 miles on his 6.0. Heads have never been off. Just proper maintenance and no crazy tune. Uh-huh. This is not an uncommon thing, right? At all. People that don't have problems don't tend to complain. People that have problems, they tend to complain. So if you were just to read the interwebs, very few comments like this. So thank you very much for this comment. I seriously appreciate you. So clearly we need more Brents out there. What I would tell you is that, yes, there are a litany of people. I know that your best friend's brother-in-law's cousins had nothing but problems with his 6.0. But how does he drive it? Does he actually change the oil when he's supposed to? Is he running monitoring gauges? Is he exceeding 230 degree oil with regularity and then, belly aching when a cylinder head cracks? What's he doing? You're melting your heat tabs on your cylinder heads. You're just not paying attention to the world around you. I'm just here to say, learn how to drive a truck or let somebody else drive you for you. You're going to be driving Miss Daisy, right? So if you take care of these trucks, they'll take care of you. If you don't take care of these trucks, you're going to be belly aching continuously about what pieces of garbage they are. No machine is intended to be abused. Now, it's interesting down that path. We're going to have two conversations here. Interesting down that path, the people with more problems than not are the people that use these trucks as grocery getters. If you're not working these trucks, you're gonna end up with pawls on the pawls on your variable vane turbo that get all caked up. You're gonna end up with all kinds of issues with unison rings and getting pitted and whatever else. You're gonna end up with EGR systems getting coked up, all because you're not working the truck. If you work the truck, if the guys that have 10, 12, 15,000 pounds behind them on the daily, these are the guys who are like, man, I haven't any problems at all. The thing just works. Oh, yeah, it does. So, but if you use it like a grocery getter, man, go buy a Honda for that, and seriously, move on. Now, when you want to go to the Home Depot and load up with, 200 sheets of plywood, obviously your Honda's not going to get that done. So it's the right tool for the job kind of conversation. But the only thing more expensive than driving a 6.0 is not driving a 6.0. And the only thing more expensive than not driving a 6.0 is going ahead and driving it, just babying it and everything else. So you want to get into it every once in a while. You totally do. But when you want to keep your numbers in check. And so you don't be exceeding 230 degree motor oil, not ever. Ideally, keep it under 225. I've got my alerts set up on my Edge Insight CTS3. Yeah, this bad boy right here. And if you've been following me for a while, this is my favorite gauge by far. It beeps at you when bad things are happening. That's the number one benefit. It lets you know. I had to sell a guy a motor earlier this year. He was running an SCT Livewire TS, and his motor was running like crap. He looked down, he was at 270. I didn't even know you could get to 270 degree oil, fellas. I just didn't know. But that's where he was. It cost him an engine that day. And it's like, ugh. And if he had only had the Edge Insight CTS3, that wouldn't have happened because he would have set up audible alerting and he would have been ding, 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 ding. You're at 225. Might want to get out of it, buddy. Something's going on. And he would have saved an engine. So I know it's $500. I so get that. You know how much a motor is? More. You know how much the time is? More. So get proper monitoring. And you don't, just because you have a 6.0 does not mean that you have to put studs in it. It does not mean that at all. And so there's nothing wrong. Now, if you're already saying, man, I want the extra power, and if I blow head gaskets, so be it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to feel better for it. Well, okay, fine. Then there's a commercial for even doing the one stud at a time business, where you pick up some ARPs from us and you drop them in one stud at a time, knowing full well you might well crack your cylinder heads in the process, because it could happen. But just one out. Put it back in, torque it to original spec, do that for all of them, and then go back and retorque them to full ARP spec for whatever studs you elect. And if it works for you, great, because it might. And if it doesn't work for you, well, you had already signed up to do a head job anyway. But recognize your need to do this only exists if you want to drop in a set of 20530, say. If you want to drop in a KC dual ball bearing turbo, say. Something like that. Outside of that, no. You don't need to, you're not going to have a problem. Just don't dog on it to the point where your oil temps are getting too high, or you're over boosting and all this kind of stuff. So as long as you live within the confines of the design, you won't have a problem. It's kind of like the 5R110. We saw a trans kit for that. You can watch my video on the homepage of FICM Repair all the way at the bottom. How to extend the life of your automatic transmission. That's worth the watch. Totally is. Those solenoids are cheaper than a transmission, even though they are spendy. But we got guys running 800 horsepower on a 5R110 with our solenoids in it, and that was all they did. They've been doing it for like 80, 100,000 miles. And so it depends on how you drive. So if you drive like a 17-year-old, I got nothing. I got nothing for you, but yeah, man, I will empty your wallet. I'm sorry about that. Some people, they have to pee on the electric fence for themselves. I'm sorry for the crude reference, I am. But it's just like there's no talking to some people. We've all got buddies like this, and maybe we've been guilty of that too. I know I have been, right? Where it's just like I'm not listening to the people around me saying, hey, it's not going to work for you, right? And then we find out later, that didn't work for me. And then we were all surprised by it. But, take it, I'm actually trying to talk you out of a head job right now. You understand? I'm trying to talk myself out of revenue. Why? Because the goal is not to sell you stuff. It's to tell you stuff. So if you want heads, you want head gaskets, you want all the stuff, watch my video on the very bottom of the homepage of FICM Repair called While You're in There, a Head Gasket Conversation. Watch the related video for how not to do head gaskets twice. But better than that, think about whether you need to do this at all. Because you might find out that you don't. Okay? FICMRepair.com. We're all in this together. If you don't have gauges, what are you thinking? Pick those up right there. Those guys on FICMRepair.com. Appreciate you. Take care. We'll see you.